as a high-powered projector woman, the thing you have to understand is that everybody wants a piece. They do. They love having you around. You see and are able to do things that nobody else can do for you. And I don't know what in the holy projector bitterness is going on right now. But as a projector with many projector clients, all the girls are coming to me about how bitter they are, feeling taken advantage of at their jobs, not getting the recognition, feeling burnt out, confused, overwhelmed with what to do in their business so that they can create their own abundance and not have to work for somebody else. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give you what you have to understand about bitterness is that bitterness is your portal to wealth. And I'm going to share a story with you about my own experience with this. I am a 4/6 self-projected projector, and I'm very familiar with this world of feeling taken advantage of in the workplace, really, like not seen, not valued. And so I want to give you 3 tools to be a better leader in your life and in your business. These are from Kabbalah, and to help you understand and recognize your own power as a projector. You're not here to work and hustle and slave away. It's just not part of our design. Whether or not you have any energy centers, we're really here to guide and to make things more efficient. And the sad part is we get a lot of gratification just by doing a good job. When we see the impact of our efforts, it makes us feel really proud that we had that contribution. But when it feels like it's going unnoticed and you're not getting the compensation, praise, validation, recognition you know that you deserve, it feels really shitty, for lack of a better term. And people are going to take advantage of you because you are so capable. And you think that you're bitter because of them and the way that you're being treated, but it's your portal to wealth, because we don't change when everything is going great. We change when everything is falling apart. And the bitterness, you're actually bitter with yourself for not doing the things that you know you need to do in order to move forward in business, because you're feeling so burnt out and overworked at your job. You don't feel like you have the energy left to put into building your own thing. And this will continue until it gets bad enough that you're willing to change. And so this bitterness is actually something that's welling forth from within you, calling you towards your highest timeline. The reason you don't feel recognized is because you're over giving from a place of, it's actually a place of taking, because it's not doing a good job for the sake of doing a good job just to be a giver. You want to receive the recognition and the praise and the respect and the rewards. And so when you're giving from a place of taking, you're actually allowing people to take advantage of you. And that's what makes us feel bitter inside. So let me tell you a story about, this was a couple years ago. I was this has happened multiple times at jobs. First, when I was a marketing director, my boss was a total moron, I felt. And he would have me do all these crazy big projects. And I would ask him so many times, like, are you sure this is what we're doing? And he'd be like, yeah. And then I would do all the work and he'd be like, no, I don't like it. I want to do this. And I'm like, we've literally had this conversation so many times. And I felt so unseen, because I was told when I took that job, I was going to be the director. I was going to be able to make decisions and do the things. But really, I was just like doing the job of 5, marketing assistants or something. Like it wasn't anything like what I thought it would be. And when I got laid off from there because COVID happened, it was a restaurant franchise, and I couldn't find anything that wasn't a huge step down with a big pay cut. And I was like, I can't do this. And so I ended up in outside B2B sales, and I was doing really well. It was such a hard job for me because oh, just the facing the rejection and having to humble yourself enough to knock on doors and do it consistently every single day, depending on how big, how long your pipeline is. Mine was pretty short sales cycle, so you constantly had to be out in the streets knocking doors and talking to people, and it can just get so frustrating when they say they want it and then they don't want it and then they duck you and you get ghosted. And it was just, oh god, it was getting such it was really frustrating to me. And there was this one time I had driven out to this car dealership. It was my third time going out there to see this guy, and he'd asked me to come at this time. That's when I came, and I could see him sitting behind the glass. He was the general manager there, and he saw me, but he wouldn't come out. He was like, I swear to God, he was acting like he was on the phone, but he wasn't on the phone. And I was like, why did you tell me to come here if you weren't going to talk to me? Oh God, I was so bitter. So I'm sitting in my car, drinking a Diet Coke, eating my apples, scrolling TikTok lives, and I come across this guy talking about Skool. And I had been trying to get my coaching business off the ground for years. At this point, I had a master's degree in positive psychology. I had gotten 6 ICF coaching certifications. I was creating content, courses, websites, funnels, emails, and it wasn't going anywhere. I felt like everybody else had something figured out that I didn't, and that it was never going to happen for me. And it was literally so physically painful to feel that you have more inside of you and to really, really want to help people and not know how to unlock it. And I started my business then on Skool, and I started making money. It was going well, but I just I didn't feel like I had the time or the motivation to really put into my business to get it where I needed it to be in order to leave this job and feel good about it. And they kept trying to get me to take on more responsibility and become the territory manager. And they wanted me to try it for like 90 days without any increase in pay, but a huge increase in responsibility. And I was like, fuck no. Why would I want to do that? You look at me like I'm some like cute little girl. I'm just going to do what you're bidding. You would never ask a man to do that. You would never. But they were asking me to do it. And I was like, that is not going to happen. They brought on this guy. And at this point, I was the top rep in North Carolina. I was making more than anybody else in the state. And like, so I know why they wanted me to be a leader, but they weren't willing to compensate me for it. And I was just not about that life. And so they brought this guy on from a competing company and basically gave him my entire territory. And next thing I know, I'm, following up with some prospects really close to my house, like very much in my territory. And must 4, 5, 6 were like, oh, this guy was just here. And he was like taking my leads. And I go to my boss about it, and he's just like, well, there's nothing we can really do. And these were like accounts that I had been working on for months, big accounts. And you're saying you're just going to let some loser McDonald's freaking come in here? It's like, very good. Come in here and take all of my accounts? Like, what are you even talking about? Because I was a 1099. I was an independent contractor. Like, they weren't really, the base was basically non-existent, and I've been hustling my ass off for these people, and you're just going to give my shit away to this guy because of why? You think he's going to make you so much more money? I was so bitter. I felt very taken advantage of, and that is what really motivated me to get the business going for real, for real. And I'm really glad that that happened, because otherwise it was like I was making good enough money where I didn't have to figure out the business. It was more of a nice to have. And it forced me to be a leader in my own life, which has been directly ties to me now living in Croatia, being able to make 6 figures working from anywhere, really 20, 25 hours a week, really. So let me give you 3 tools. These are from Kabbalah that are going to help you get out of the bitterness and into yourself, or your signature theme, which is success. You were destined for success. You were literally destined for it. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening to you. You wouldn't be going through all of this if you weren't meant for more. So take comfort in that fact. The first one is, it's being able to see the big picture. Okay? We get so caught up in the minutia and the physical reality and results that we're seeing in our life and business. And so when you take an action and you don't see the effects of that right away, you start to question, Is this right for me? Am I doing the right thing? Is this working? Will it ever work? And we know from Kabbalah that the spiritual world is the 99%. We are only seeing 1% of what is actually happening in any given moment. And this is from Hokmah. There's the Sfirot, which are your different like energy centers. And I forgot the top one. I was just learning about this morning. But the eyes are Hokmah. And your eyes will lie to you, your physical eyes. And we want to ask to be able to make decisions that are being pulled or guided by the big picture, not on our rational, logical mind or our current situation. Because your eyes will lie to you if you're just looking at what you can see physically. Everything is energy. Everything is happening for your good, for your benefit. You don't have to know everything. It's easier to know what we shouldn't be doing than what we should be doing, especially for a projector, because we're really good with other people, with seeing into someone else's soul and systems and bottlenecks. But when it comes to self, it can be really frustrating and make you really bitter that you're not doing the things that you know you need to do in your business, because you know that you have to create content. People have to be able to discover you and find you and come into your world. And this is just an example. And if you're not doing that, it's going to make you bitter. And so what you want to do is be able to ask to be shown, to make decisions based on the big picture. And so I'm going to ask you, where in your life have you missed the big picture? Where, and this could be relationships, business, work, physical life. For example, I dated this guy who was a great guy. And I wanted him to love me so much. This was like my last real serious relationship, which was 7 years ago. And after him, I stopped dating for a long time and only recently started again. And at the time, I wanted him to love me so much. I thought if he and I could just live together and move in together, everything would be perfect. And he was not the right man for me. He taught me a lot about myself, but I was so caught up in my feelings or what I thought I wanted that I couldn't see how detrimental that would have been had that actually become a thing. And my mom hated this man, which meant her and I's relationship would have suffered. Like, it really, and then he ended up spending, I think, the past few years in prison. Like, it wasn't going anywhere, but I couldn't see the big picture that was happening for my benefit, because at the time I was just like, oh, if we could just be together, everything would be great. And thank God that's not what happened. The number 2 is, you've heard of evil eye. And evil eye just means judgment. It's when we're looking at someone else and we're judging them. And when you judge someone else, you're also judging yourself. But what we want to have is good eyes, being able to see with kindness. And this comes back, being able to see the light in the darkness, in others and in yourself, because you can't see the good in others until you can see it in yourself. And it's also having compassion for yourself and not judging yourself, because when you're judging you're judging everyone else out here. You're judging where they are versus where you should be, that they have something that you want or they're not doing it right. And it always comes back to how we feel about ourselves. So how can you see the good in everything that is happening and asking for certainty beyond logic? Praying for certainty beyond logic, having the humility to accept that you don't know everything and you can't do it by yourself. When we get caught up in our ego mind, that's like, oh, I did it. This is me. I manifested this. You fail a lot. When you're acting from a place of goodness, of giving without an agenda, you never lose. Because you realize, like, it's like, wow, we do have to make effort. It's all happening for the good. And when you're giving without an agenda, it always works out. Number 3 is having the wisdom to be sensitive to the needs of other people. I know with clients, it's like, oh, and I don't want to forget this. With clients, certain ones need different things. Like some of them are really independent. You give them the tools or you explain it once and you just need to leave them alone and let them execute. Manifestors. And let them come back to you when they're ready. Other clients need more hand holding, especially at the beginning. And if you're willing to humble yourself enough and come from a giving place and really ask to be a channel of wisdom for each and every person, you're going to be guided in how to treat and serve others. And it's often the ones who do need a little bit of hand holding at the beginning, then they just take off and then they're good. And we all need different things at different times. So it's like, it's not treating everybody the same way. It's recognizing, where that person is, what they need, and not trying to give from a place of, oh, I want, them to be smart, or this is what they paid for and this is all they're going to get. And it's not worth my time to deal with this. And I see this a lot in the coaching industry, that when someone has a little bit of success, and maybe this is my judgment, I don't know, but when someone has a little bit of success and they kind of get proud, they stop. They're like, oh, I don't do one-on-ones anymore, except for like $50,000 or something, because my time is just too valuable. Let me just throw you in this mastermind program, and if you can't figure it out, that's on you. And now I'm not saying you have to baby all of your clients and meet with them. Like, I'm not saying that, but I am saying people need different levels of support depending on where they are and what they're able to do. And if you wouldn't be able to figure out how to do something, on your own, if you would need some personalization, hand holding, individualized support in order to get where you are, why wouldn't they? And that just like doesn't sit well with me, because it's almost like, how much money can I get from this person? And I don't know. So maybe this is something I need to work on, but I don't like it. I see all these they're these like huge mastermind programs where it's just like, you're not even really getting that much except for you're paying to be in the room. It's almost like a marketing thing. You're like, oh, I'm in this mastermind with these people. And it's like, great. How are your sales? Oh, I feel like there is a way to support your clients and support people at different levels while, being true to yourself and maintaining your boundaries, and also doing your best to support them the way that they need. So I'm going to ask you, where in your life do you need to apply these 3 tools to become a better leader for yourself, for your clients? Because a leader leads with humility, with love, with light, with giving, with cherishing each and every person in front of them, including ourselves. And the projectors, you have to recognize yourself first. No one will ever be able to recognize you more than you do yourself. And if you're always giving from a place of wanting to be recognized, it's going to continue on this trajectory. If this resonated with you and you're needing some help with your business, with your school, I am doing a 5-day one-on-one challenge where I work with you one-on-one over 5 days to set up your entire freemium school community foundation. Freemium just means it's a free community on the front end, high ticket on the back end. I do have limited spots for those each week. We start on Mondays and run through Friday. If you are interested in that, there is a link below to sign up. And yeah, let me know which of these tools you are needing and going to implement. I love you. Mwah.